Mini's first attempt at creating an electric car was rather mixed to say the least. Even though it had a cozy interior and it was great to drive, the range was frankly pathetic. You couldn't go anywhere without a charger hooked up. So back to the drawing board they went, and this is attempt number 2. This is the brand new Mini Cooper Electric, and we've flown halfway across the world to Spain to test this out. Let's start with the styling, because that's one of the main reasons why people usually buy a Mini. You still get these large, enormous circular headlights, and these are LED bulbs as well. And you now get a smoother octagonal front grille, which actually reminds you of someone's well-kept goatee. The side has a bit more of an aesthetic change. The black plastic cladding, which used to be on Minis for the last 23 years, is now gone. And you get flush door handles instead on this new model. There's also no chrome to be seen both on the outside and the inside of the car. And that's actually the new design philosophy that Mini is going for, and that's dubbed charismatic simplicity. The rear end is more distinctive than the previous generation, and your Union Jack taillights are still present, albeit a little more subtle and in a triangular shape. To denote that this is the SE instead of the regular E, you have a S badge, which is on the back here. Other than that, you have a very subtle design language overall. Now, with every new generation of car, we expect nowadays that manufacturers have elongated or increased the dimensions in order to have more interior space or more battery technology underneath. Of course, when you think of a brand like Mini, that would usually garner a lot of criticism. Thankfully, with this new model, it has only grown about a centimeter from the previous generation, so it's about that much. And the wheel arches have actually been extended, so that now all 4 wheels are basically at the 4 corners of the car, aiding in stability. Back then, Mini used to name their cars the One, the Cooper and the Cooper S. But now, the Cooper is part of the brand model name itself. If you go for the electric version of the Mini Cooper, you're opting for either the E or the SE. Spring for the petrol version, and you're looking at the C or the S. If you want a bigger SUV, you still have the Countryman, which is now on the BMW iX1 platform, so that has grown quite considerably. And you can get that in both petrol and electric variants as well. And since the Clubman has now been discontinued, rather sadly, there's now a new middle child called the Aceman. Aside from the obvious power differences, the main reason why you would opt for the SE instead of the E is its bigger battery and faster charging speeds. In the regular E, you only get a 40.7 kWh battery, and that is good for about 300 kilometers of range. Spring for this, the SE, and the range is bumped up to about 400 kilometers, and you get a 54.2 kWh battery, which is a significant upgrade, especially from the predecessor. The SE can charge up to a maximum of 95 kilowatts compared to the E, which is 75 kilowatts. Although it must be said that 95 kilowatts is still quite slow compared to some of its rivals. On the inside, there is tons of personality, and your eyes immediately gravitate towards this huge round circular display, which is a homage to the original 1959 Mini. While this screen is very enticing and colourful to look at, my main gripe is that it is a bit hard to navigate, especially on the move. There are many icons, and they are a little hard to see, especially when you're driving. Your air conditioning controls are also on the screen now, which is a little annoying because back then in the predecessor, you have dials that are easy to control. Apart from that, you have a center controls panel with just a few toggle switches. One is your gear shifter, one is your experiences, driving modes, there are 8 in total. And the center is your power start-stop button. And instead of a push button, now you just twist the key to get the car running. There are 8 driving modes in total, or experiences as what Mini calls them. And each one is a very unique character of a car. So for example, Sport mode is now replaced with Go-Kart. And if I toggle it really quickly, you will even hear a nice woohoo in the background. That was from me, that's not from the car, but it will say that. My personal favorite would be the Timeless mode, whereby the car simulates what the original 1959 Mini would sound like. And this old-timey dial is really, really classy. You do get nice knitted fabric which is on the door panels and the dashboard as well. It's an eco-friendly blend, which is what I understand from Mini. However, unlike the soft touch materials that you get in the old Mini, you're now replaced with hard plastics, and it gets a bit scratchy if I'm very honest, especially on the door panels. Because there's no chrome on the outside, the inside is also replaced with a new satin gold metal finish, which is very nice. You see them on the speakers, the door handles, bits of the steering wheel, and also the center cup holder. Your center console is now a large center tray. You can opt for an optional glove box, which you can put around here, I presume. You have two cup holders in the front, one in the rear for your rear passengers, and in this SE variant, or an option on the E, you can get a wireless charging pad at the front here. There is no center armrest. As you can see, this is just a very small additional column from the driver's seat itself. So your front passenger might not have the armrest, or you can share, up to you. Standard on the SE variant, by an option on the E, is a head-up display, which you can see this piece of perspex on the front here. Now this is very important because the new Mini doesn't have a sensor instrument cluster, and all your information is in the middle on this round display. Personally, I would highly recommend to get the heads-up display because it allows you to see all your vital information, your speed, navigation, at a quick glance without looking at the center. Other than that, you have nice front seats with good bolstering on the sides, very good for cornering, a nice sporty steering wheel which falls easily to hand. Overall, the Mini experience in the front is very nice. So of course, this being a 3-door car, the Mini Cooper is a bit limited in the rear in terms of space. But the good news is the rear seats are now much wider, especially if you have two big adults in the rear, and you get a lot more headroom. So it isn't so bad, but you have to tolerate whatever driving position that your driver or front passenger prefer. That's why your legroom is a little bit cramped. The boot shares a similar story to the rear seats, and you only get 210 liters available. As you can see, all of my colleague and my luggage has basically filled up the entire thing. While it is good for an overnight bag or two, it's best to keep your golf bag at home. So of course, one of the biggest reasons why you will buy a Mini is because Minis offer that quintessential go-kart feeling that other brands simply cannot replicate. And I'm happy to report that in the new Mini Cooper, you still get that original ethos that was created 50 years ago. And I think that's what the Mini designers were going for with the 5th generation Mini Cooper. They want to retain that original driving sensation, but now, because it's electric, you also get a new sense of tranquility and serenity when you drive. And it's simply addicting. So, pardon me as I now give it the beans and do some spirited driving. So as you can hear in the background, there's some pop and bang sounds which are digitally replicated. It's quite an interesting feature on this car. Your regen to braking transition is very smooth in this. And with the battery pack so low to the ground, your center of gravity is obviously very, very balanced. So you can take corners with complete confidence, knowing that you can come out the other side, not only well, but smiling. Overall, the new Mini Cooper Electric is a great all-rounder package. It's very entertaining to drive, it has much better range than its predecessor, and although it can be quite expensive, especially when this finally arrives in Singapore later on in the year, you're buying into a lifestyle that is unique to Mini. There aren't many car brands that can make you feel special, but the Mini proves that you can have a smile on your face each time you head out for a drive. That's it for me checking in from Sitges, Spain. Do remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you again on the next one. Cheers!